Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Emil Khudyev, and I'm a clarinetist. I was born in Turkmenistan, in the capital city, Ashgabat, which translates to a city of love. In 2001, myself and my older brother were applicants to attend an Interlochen Center for the Arts. It's a national Interlochen music camp in Michigan. And we applied, and we were fortunate enough to get full scholarship to come just for the summer session. And basically this has been the start of our journey. But going back a little bit, when the Soviet Union broke up in 1991, the life wasn't so easy. And my parents decided that to make it at least look and feel easy for the kids, for us, they would ask Peace Corps volunteers to come and live with us. So they lived with us for 2 years, and at that time, me and my brothers were doing music. We were going to a music school. So every day they would hear us practice. Mm-hmm. And when we got a bit older, they suggested that we apply for the Interlochen Arts camp because they had friends who had a summer house there. So we submitted tapes and were accepted. And so that's when we moved to the States.
Nice. So how many brothers do you said you and one brother went to Interlochen, but it sounds like you have more than one brother.
Yeah, I have 2 brothers, so there's 3 of us.
Okay.
But our oldest brother was too old to apply because he has age limits. So he did not apply for Interlochen because of his age.
And you've been playing music before you got accepted into that program?
I started doing music at age 12.
Okay.
And my brothers started a bit earlier because for violin you start earlier, and I was not doing violin. So I started at 12. And I was 14 when I applied to Interlochen, so I've played for 2 years prior.
And after the summer camp, you ended up actually going to Interlochen, right?
Yes, what happened is they had a table with administrations advertising the academy, which is the boarding high school. Mm-hmm. And my older brother saw it, and he just signed my name and his name, not knowing what he's doing. He said, "Oh, there's an opportunity to play. Let's go and play an audition." So he told me that on this day, on August 6th, I believe it was, 2001, he said, "Hey, you'll have an audition for this Interlochen school." I said, "Okay, I'll just go and play." And so both of us went in and played, and later we learned that both of us got full scholarship, which at that time costed $27,000.
Wow.
But due to our lack of English, we had to take extra English courses, which costed $5,000 per student. So our parents decided that they would leave one of us and have the other one come back because they didn't want to pay the fee for English. It was, at that time, was a lot of money for us.
Okay.
So my older brother took a chance and went into the administration and explained the situation, and then they offered to cover the English cost as well.
So you both got it.
So we both got full scholarship to stay.
And so after Interlochen, what did your music education, what did you do in music education after that?
Well, after Interlochen, I went to Cleveland Institute of Music to pursue my undergraduate performance degree in clarinet. And after I graduated, I went to Yale University to do my master's. And after Yale, I really wanted to move to LA to study with this particular teacher who is world known. He's one of the best for clarinet. to today's date. So I was lucky enough to get in. They only had 2 spots. And so I spent 2 years in LA, and then I was offered a job at Kansas City Symphony.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved to Kansas City, and there I was offered the job to go teach at Interlochen.
Yeah.
So I decided that would be a fun move, and since I've been there, I went there as a student. And so I taught there for 3 years, and then I took an audition for the Seattle Symphony, and now I'm here.
Now you're here. Yes,
Yeah.
it's been about 7 months.
7 months, yeah.
7 months? Very
Yeah.
nice. So who was the teacher that you mentioned a moment ago?
So the teacher that I really wanted to study with is Yehuda Gilad.
Okay, I've never heard of him.
Yeah, he's a very known professor for clarinetist. Basically, the one to study with today.
What kinds of things did he inspire within you?
He works with every student differently, and he finds their pluses and minuses, of course. And he has this philosophy to completely turn you psychologically powerful, to go and do well in auditions by using your pluses to cover your minuses.
Okay.
So he works, particularly with me, that's what I needed, more kind of mental work, because going through an auditions and interviews is quite challenging, and it's very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
But he really emphasized and pushed to the last day, and to make me feel 100% committed to it and believing in myself.
Did he help push you to practice the minuses as well, or was it more so play to your strengths?
Play to your strengths, yeah.
Play to your strengths, okay.
Yeah.
And do you have other teachers that you had before that you really looked up to?
Oh yeah,
or-
well, throughout my career I had amazing teachers. I got very lucky. From day one I had an amazing teacher at home.
Mhm.
Then I had a great teacher at Interlochen, and I had a great teacher at Cleveland Institute and Yale. They're all great. And every teacher led me to the right point, and they all played a big role.
And was it kind of a different role, each teacher?
Oh yeah, they're all different. But I feel very lucky that I got a different perspective, and now I take all the good things from each one that I had.
Yeah, I know you taught at Interlochen, but do you have a private studio here, or where else have you taught? And who do you work with?
I've taught all ages. At Interlochen, it was mostly it's all high school kids from age 14 and 18.
Mm-hmm.
And then I taught as a guest lecturer at Northwestern University in Chicago.
Okay.
I've taught at Yale. I've taught at USC. I taught at Cleveland Institute, University of Maryland, University of Miami. But those are mostly college level kids.
Mm-hmm.
Here, because I just came from a teaching career, I hesitated to teach because I wanted to concentrate on my playing. So I don't have a studio yet. I have one student who's 14, and he's excellent, and that's about the time I have for teaching right now.
Is it clear like an older beginning student needs to work on certain things and a younger beginning student needs to work on things? Is there any suggestions that you have for different ages that are just starting the clarinet?
Yeah, definitely. It's always harder to teach the olders because we all have bad habits,
Mm-hmm.
and it's harder to go back and getting away from bad habits when you're older. So I find that it's much easier to teach younger kids because, first of all, they click right away. It's easy to change things if embouchure isn't, there yet. It's easy to build it quicker rather than someone who's been playing 6 years on the wrong embouchure.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to retrain those. But depends on on a person. Everyone is different. You, as a teacher, have to find the right way to click with each student. And sometimes it takes years, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, 2 years of work, and next day it's a completely different player. And some kids are, in a couple of weeks, you see huge improvement, and then they just stay there. So it's fun to observe those curves.
So do you have any advice for potentially older beginning clarinetists that might be using practicing musician and don't have access to a teacher?
Oh yeah, using practicing musician would be a great tool for them, because it covers pretty much everything you need. And I don't think it's limited to age group. It's the materials that you have would cover any, from beginning to on and on level of players.
Let's end it today with just a little bit more about why you've decided to come and give lessons on practicing musician.
I'm a big believer in music education, and I was lucky enough to have everything I needed. And I've seen kids that had no access to it. When I was studying at Yale, I volunteered to go into inner city schools and do a little bit of music education in horrifying schools. I mean, one day you have kids come in, and next day they're in different schools because, you know, their family moved or they had to move. So they're very underprivileged schools. But I've seen great results with those kids. And arts is not only for, it's not for people who can afford. That's not what it's all about. It's for kids for everyone. So I very much love your mission and think it will go really far, and I wanted to be part of it because I think it's an important aspect to have for the kids today.
Good. Well, we're very glad to have you on board. Thanks for being here, and I think your lessons are going to help a lot of people. And,
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's been great talking with you today.
You too.